Joining me right now is Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs. He is a member of the House Freedom Caucus. Congressman, it's good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Maria. Good to be with you.
So did you get a response from Paul Ryan? I'm reading your letter right now, and you're saying let's cancel the recess so that we have ample time to get these important legislative matters complete.
Well, I haven't received anything directly, but I have heard that that currently the intention is to persist in the current timeline. So I take that as a no yet. So we're trying to build up the avalanche of people who feel this way, not just in the Congress but around the country, that we have an obligation to get these things done. And let's get a good work product done, and that may take some time.
Well, why is it taking so much time, Congressman? Can you walk us through it? We were just talking with Senator Barrasso as well as Congressman Mike McCall about the agenda, and I recognize Medicaid and cutting back Medicaid is a real issue here, even though there's an enormous amount of fraud and abuse in this entitlement program. But why can't you guys and gals come to an agreement on this, knowing that this is so important to the American people? What's stopping you?
Well, I think what's stopping us is, I mean, simply we could have repealed it. We didn't repeal it, and now we're mired in trying to fix a really bad system by putting baling wire and tape around it, and really still trying to get something done meaningful. And when you're doing that, there's a whole lot of people that promised repeal, and when we could get a president to sign that, it turns out they didn't really mean it so much. And so we're in there fighting back and forth, trying to get the best. And a bill came out of the House, and now the Senate's doing their job. And I thought I heard one of your previous guests said maybe a 50-50 chance of getting that thing done by the August break,
yeah.
which tells me that we've got there's some timber yet to cut, and so we might as well be here working hard on all the other things. The budget, we've got a deadline on the budget. We've got a debt ceiling limit that we have to talk about.
Yep.
We've got to work on the tax reform package, and which you can't do until you get the budget resolution done.
Exactly. So do you think the more time will actually get you to come together and get a bill to the floor? I mean, is that what it's going to take? You need another month to get all of these things done, rather than just looking ahead and saying, okay, our deadline is right before this August recess. We're going to hammer this out tonight.
Well, yeah, I think that's when you get bad work product. I mean, we have deadlines. There's all kinds of deadlines in place that we just mentioned. End of September is some pretty big deadlines looming. But what you need is time to get a good work product. And so why not work through that in August?
Right.
I think the American people also expect that. I think the president expects that. I mean, you know, I'm not saying you do it every year, but in this year where we have some critical and important policies that we promised to get done, why not make an exception to the norm and get this stuff done? Are
there any Democrats you think who will actually participate in this? I mean, how is it trying to govern when you don't have half of your chamber?
I'm not sure on the health care you're going to see anything, but I think you can get some help and support from some of the Democrats with some of the particular tax programs that are out there. I mean, some of these folks come from real competitive districts, and they want to see tax rates go down, for instance, on middle-class families. And that'll be part of the tax reform package. And when that happens, I think you might be able to get some to cross the barrier there and get something done. I
know that Kevin Brady at House Ways and Means is going to be talking a lot about tax reform in the coming weeks, and his ideas that will resonate with the American people. But what's most important from a tax package from your standpoint? Being a Freedom Caucus member, what are your priorities from a tax package, sir?
Well, I think there's two things. Number one is to keep the promise. So there's two main promises here. Number one is you have to reduce the corporate rate, and you have to get that down. And I like the president's number of 15. That's the number I heard all along. And if you can move down to 15, that'll gin up the economy very quickly, and that would be very positive. And the other thing is to reduce the rates and compress some of the brackets. Right. For individuals, and that's important as well.
It sounds pretty straightforward. If they agree, your colleagues agree to a 15% corporate tax rate, are you going to have to raise revenue somewhere else? Are you going to have to keep, certain issues in there, like a border adjustment tax, in order to raise the $1 trillion over a 10-year period, if you're going to have such a low corporate tax rate?
I don't think so. I mean, some of the experts I've talked to, I mean, the border adjustable tax is really in trouble right now. There's not a lot of support for that. But the reality is, we know if you're a supply sider, You know that reduction in the tax rate in some of the taxes, such as corporate income rate, that will cause capital flow into the economy. It'll create jobs. It'll spin the dollars to the effect that the revenue will actually increase. And I believe it's going to offset that over 10 years. And there are those who say no, but I believe that that's the case.
All right. We will be watching that. I know you have a lot on the agenda, sir. We'll be watching the developments. Thanks so much for joining us, Congressman.